What's happening, Keish?
Hey, Uni.
Man, we back in the building.
We back in here. Oh my God.
Yeah, we are.
We
Yeah, we are.
on another week, right?
Another week.
Listen, how you been first and foremost?
Hey, man, I've been all right, man. I appreciate you for asking. How you been?
I mean, I've been okay,
You been all right?
I've been all right or whatever.
You haven't been getting on nobody's nerves or nothing?
I mean, I try to stay doing that though.
I know you do.
I stay getting on somebody's nerves, okay?
Yeah, I know firsthand.
I wouldn't be me if I didn't get
no doubt about
nerves.
It. No doubt about it.
But it's cool though because everybody gets on everybody's nerves. So
yeah.
If you don't get on nobody's nerves, then you should try it. It's fun.
Well, if that's what helps you sleep at night.
Ain't that some shit?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Listen, y'all. So I know y'all like Uni and Keish is crazy because what the is this topic about? Because all I see is toxic relationships last longer. What are you guys talking about?
Uh-oh.
That's what we talking about. Toxic relationships.
Toxic
last longer.
Relationships.
Yeah. And you know what? This is something that everybody can relate to. I promise you. If you ain't know, and you probably in one now, you need to be listening because we really dropped some bombshells on y'all for real. Help y'all get up out this stuff. Or stay in it because they do last longer. What you think?
Hey, listen.
Wait a minute. Your face alone. Stop. Don't make me laugh. You know my stomach been hurting.
I'm gonna tell you.
I'm just looking at your face. Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you. Toxic relationships last longer. Yeah. And listen, you don't think they last longer? And when you think about all the different relationships you done had, right? Mm-hmm. Why is it the toxic ones? Why is it the toxic relationships that we're in? Mm-hmm. Those are the ones we end up staying in the longest.
You're right. You're right about that. Because it's like people are drawn to toxic stuff, especially other people.
It's this society. It's this reality we in. It's this world that we in. It's like drama. For some reason, drama is exciting. Drama is mesmerizing at times. It's also magnetic.
Well, drama. Because this is a word that you don't like.
Yeah, I don't like drama.
You don't like drama. I'm sure though, even though you don't like drama, you've been in a toxic relationship that's lasted.
Oh yeah.
And you was probably the one that made it toxic.
I might have been. It's very well possible. Yes. You're right.
What?
Yeah, I might have been. I'm not going to sit here and say that I was the perfect one or the angel in the relationship or whatever. I'm not going to say that. I can't just sit there and say, what type of person? Ladies. I'm not toxic now. I'm not.
He said it with a smile.
Yeah, I'm not.
You need toxic. He toxic as hell. Okay.
I'm not toxic now. I'm not. But
I'm going to ask her.
But listen, let me ask you this. Like, okay, if you're with a person in a relationship and this person got you doing these, let's just call them exciting things, right? Whether it's behind closed doors or whatever the case is, like he got you doing things that you wouldn't have normally done. Now, that particular relationship might be toxic because of the things that he got you doing. But you're not going to be so quick to walk away from that. You know what I mean?
Because excitement is where it's at.
Excitement, right. Excitement is where it's at.
The right kind of excitement is where it's at. Now, the wrong kind of excitement, I mean, yeah, it might give you like you might give you a little high or something like that. But the wrong kind of excitement is not where you want to stay at. But that's where people usually get it turned around at, and that's why they stay. They're like, oh my gosh, this is something I ain't never experienced before. I don't know if I really like it or not. I'm gonna stay a little bit longer just to see if it's something that I really want to invest in. And then they get comfortable and it's like they stuck.
That's true.
So that's why it lasts longer.
But there's also another side of toxic relationships where, there's a lot of arguing and fussing and fighting. And then you got to ask yourself, like, what's keeping that couple together? Like,
The
you
sex.
know you're in a toxic relationship. Everybody on the outside, well, maybe they might not know. Let me take that back. Maybe they might not know that they're in a toxic relationship. But everybody on the outside looking in, being nosy or whatever, everybody they
Yeah.
choose to put their business, out there with them in their ear, whatever. They know that they're in a toxic relationship, but for some reason, they will not let that relationship go. So
You know
what's
why?
that about?
Because I think that, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it might just be me because we all know that I'm a little freaky. But the sex, do you think the sex is better in like a toxic relationship? Because I kind of feel like it might be.
I think it might come off as better because there's so much energy that's built up from the toxicity. Am I saying that right?
Toxicity.
Toxicity.
There you go. There you go.
You know what I mean? So, like, I think it builds up. It just builds up. It builds up. And then when you release all of that energy while you're intimate, it kind of makes it that
feel
much
like
more
it's
better.
better.
Yeah. When really
That's what
it
it
really
is.
isn't better, but because of everything that was going on, it's almost kind of like when some people like they get close to like a life-threatening event.
Yeah.
Like they almost die or something, and because they almost die, they get worked up for some reason, and they just want to, I think that has to have something to do with it. What you think?
I'm pretty sure it does, because it's like maybe endorphins come off when people do like exciting and crazy stuff, and then they arguing back and forth, and then it's like maybe they feel like the sex is better because it's like a makeup sex session. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever had like some great makeup sex?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. After an argument? Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Yeah, I had a flashback.
Obviously you did, because dang, the sweat started dripping and shit from your forehead.
Was it dripping?
Anyway. Plus, where is your candle, sir?
Oh, man.
Anyway.
My candle.
Yeah. But I'm just saying though, he's pouting. Oh, he's so cute when he pouts.
Go ahead. I'm gonna light my candle.
I'm gonna light my candle.
Yeah, I'm listening.
No, but like that's what makes, and I think people, because they have what we gonna call it makeup sex after a disagreement, an argument, a fight, what have you, in that toxic relationship, it like makes them feel like they closer, draws them closer, because they are giving off that energy and vibration when they having sex. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's just that much more intense.
Mm-hmm.
So walking away from a sexual episode that's like intense like that is kind of probably hard for some people, because like, you like, damn, like I ain't trying to get this shit up. The dick too good. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
are you in something like that right now, Key?
No, but I've had some makeup sex too.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Excuse me. Oh, whatever. Let me get back. Let me bring myself back to reality.
Bring it back.
Okay.
Bring it back.
Anyway, no, but so would you consider a toxic relationship? And I know the answer to this, but I want to know what you think. Would you consider it like a dysfunctional relationship?
Most definitely dysfunctional. Yes.
They both dysfunctional, right?
But see, that's just it. If both parties are toxic and both parties are dysfunctional.
Pause. Because what if both parties are not toxic at first? Who's the toxic person first? That's a good question.
How do you know? I guess it just all depends on the individual couple. Like that individual, like I think it's going to differ depending on, who's in the relationship. It's hard to say who was toxic first. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or who started doing toxic things first.
I think the man is toxic first.
Why would you just say that? Because you're a woman?
That's so stereotypical. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just because? Just to throw it out there?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That's what y'all do. Side. Just like y'all say that men cheat more than women, when we all know that women cheat more than men.
No.
Men just get caught.
Just stupid when they cheat.
Men just get caught more. That's all. That's the only difference.
Men think with the other head.
Men get caught more. Like a
Men just
man
think
will,
with the other
a
head.
man,
So they just think they gotta put some into anything they see that look good, a fat booty,
now see,
some big old
a man
titties.
would cheat. A man will cheat with somebody he has absolutely no feelings for, and she could be right next door. A woman,
Ridiculous.
she going do it with somebody that she actually has feelings for, somebody she's feeling,
I
and
don't
he
think
might
so.
stay way across town or maybe in another state.
No, that's not right.
I'm just saying that's why men get caught more than women do. But that doesn't mean that men cheat more. Men just get caught more.
Y'all look out
Mm-hmm.
for the next episode, not this Friday,
Mm-hmm.
but the next Friday. It's gonna be on cheating.
How
But
you just
because this is the second episode that Uni has talked about cheating. So obviously it is a discussion that needs to be had because we want to know what y'all think too. And I'm sorry, we're going to get back into this toxicity, but we want to know what y'all think about cheating.
Well, cheating is a part of being toxic in a relationship.
It's a big part of being toxic.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, we still
like
on
we all
topic.
know, yeah, we still on topic, but I'm just saying we all know that energy is in everything you do because Uni speaks about energy a lot when we talk about
I do.
anything.
Everything's
Any episode
energy to
that
me.
we have,
Yep.
everything is energy.
Yeah.
So when you go out and you cheat too, like you bringing that energy into your house.
Yeah, that's true. And that can cause it to be toxic. It can become
cause
toxic.
a toxic relationship.
And that might be why you said it's the man that starts it. But you know what? We're not going to go there, okay? Because we have no proof. We have no proof. We have no, we got to do a poll.
I'm going to take a poll.
Something.
So y'all, I'm in the Georgia area. We in the Georgia area. If y'all see me out trying to take a poll, make sure y'all, y'all get in on that.
Her ass
I
ain't
want to know what
be
y'all
out
think.
there taking
I'm
no
going to be
poll.
out there. I'm outside. Not for real.
I'm going to tell y'all now, y'all are not going to see her out there taking polls. It's way too hot.
Listen, I need a little sun anyway.
Yeah, you can use a little sun.
I can use a little sun.
Yeah,
but back to what you were saying with the whole dysfunctional thing. Why do you think people consider a toxic relationship dysfunctional?
It becomes dysfunctional. I think because just like with anything toxic, eventually it's going to degrade whatever it is. Like it's not going to get better. So there's only one route that you're going to go with that toxic, and that's dysfunctional. It's going to become dysfunctional. Things are going to become, everything's just going to be out of order. Nothing's going to be in place, and it's going to be a continuous cycle until one of them decides, like, you know what, this is it. This is enough. But if both parties are toxic, that's why we could say that toxic relationships end up lasting longer because some people want somebody toxic because they're toxic.
That is sad.
Like,
if you out here looking for somebody toxic because you toxic, you probably need to get your priorities in order. And
maybe they sat down and that was their priority. Maybe they decided
being toxic.
Listen, maybe
what the
they
hell
decided
can come out of being toxic.
Listen, maybe they decided. Like, look, this is me. This is who I am. I am not going to be able to change this. Every time I get in a relationship with somebody who isn't toxic, like I am, it doesn't work out.
You know why
Let me
it
go
don't work
ahead
out?
and find somebody who's toxic. That way, it'll last a little longer.
And this is why people are having problems holding on to a relationship. Because think about it. When, like you just said, if a toxic person is out here like in a relationship with somebody who's not toxic, they really don't know how to function. Is basically what we're saying. So they end up messing the relationship up. So that relationship ends. So the more you put yourself out there as being toxic and you looking for that toxic relationship and you get with that person, you're going to keep on jumping from relationship to relationship or even going back to that same toxic person that you was with. Like it's out of control. At some point, you're going to have to sit down and be like, okay, I'm tired of feeling drained. I'm tired of feeling stressed. I'm tired of the disrespect. You know what I mean?
But what about those ones that are comfortable in that? You know how some people, like, they get to a point maybe an age or in their life where they've been around that toxic so much, is they're comfortable there now and they're uncomfortable in a non-toxic relationship. It's
Yeah.
like, man, something ain't right. We're not arguing. I've actually heard women say, if y'all not arguing and fussing and fighting, y'all don't love each other.
Huh?
I've actually heard, yes, there's people right
And it
now.
was women that said that?
Women and men.
Okay.
There's people right now that believe that if you're not arguing in your relationship, or if you're not fussing and fighting in your relationship, then there's no love in the relationship.
Wow.
So you got to think about it like that. Like if you have that type of mentality and you're in a relationship, you can be in a perfect, let's not use perfect, but you could be in a really great relationship that's working out, right? That's not dysfunctional. And because you're not arguing, you're now starting to doubt whether or not that person even cares about you.
Yeah. Yeah. But let me say this. Even in any relationship, not just a toxic relationship, there's always going to be arguing. I mean, just not as often, because we're all human. We're not going to always agree on things.
Right.
So there's always going to be some type of disagreement.
Right.
So the fact, if somebody, actually, it might be true, do they still care about me? Because when a person stops responding to what you're doing and stops talking about it and act like they don't care, then they probably really don't care. And that 9 times out of 10 is coming from that toxic environment, because at that point, you're drained. You get tired. You know what I mean? Like, you feeling stressed all the time. Who wants to continue a cycle of just feeling tired and drained all the time?
And the person that would feel tired and drained would be that person that
asking the questions.
I guess that person that isn't the toxic one.
Right.
Because for some reason, the person that's toxic in the relationship, they're not going to be drained at all.
They're not. It's almost like a narcissist.
It might actually give them energy.
They enjoy it.
Because, there's a lot of toxic stuff going on, at the moment. Like, oh man, we arguing. Yeah, like, I feel good. Like they actually feel good because they're in their comfort zone. Like, and why do you think something like that is hard to leave? Like, I mean, like I said earlier, I believe that if both parties are toxic and they're both comfortable in that toxic environment, in that toxic relationship, that particular relationship can end up lasting a lot longer than, I guess, the average relationship where maybe one person is toxic and the other one isn't.
Right.
I don't think it would last longer than 2 people who are not toxic.
Yeah.
But because of the way this society is, how hard is it to find 2 people now that's not toxic?
Okay.
That just so happens to link up and be in a relationship. And that's probably why the divorce rate is so high and why relationships just don't work out. Because, hey, you know how society is now.
Hell yeah, I know how society is right now. Like, society is outrageous right now. I mean, the amount of things people deal with and allow to happen is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Right? But to answer your question, why do I think it lasts? I think that some people grow up in an environment. It has to do with childhood, because we know that a lot of the things we go through in childhood and a lot of things we see in childhood, it continues on for most people into their adult years, right? So that's all they know.
Right.
And when they get in something like that, they might think that, hey, this is what love actually is. Love is toxic, right? So why give up on it? Why give up on love? And this is what I seen my parents do. This is how they showed their affection. This is how they showed their love. It wasn't always 100%, but this is close to what I'm comfortable being around. So I'm going to stay in it and see where it goes. Maybe I can change that person.
You know what? Do people really love in a toxic relationship?
I think
They love the toxic.
Think they love. Yeah, they love the toxicity. They definitely got to love the toxicity because it might give them a rush. It's like taking for some people, taking a drug that they've never taken before, and it gives them that high. So yeah, they think they love. Maybe it's lust.
It could be lust.
Difference. I think it may be.
It could be lust.
I think it may be because love really doesn't hurt. Love shouldn't hurt.
No, wait.
That much.
Love,
not like that.
Love hurts though.
Love hurts when you try to let it go.
Love definitely hurts. Even when, because you know what, when you love someone, you're going to speak to them truthfully. You're going to say things to them they might not want to hear. You're going to say things that's going to hurt their feelings. You're going to say things that's going to force them to look in the mirror, and that hurts, especially if it's a person that hasn't been doing that, hasn't been facing the truth and been living like this, I guess, fantasy world, if you will,
Ooh.
So love can definitely hurt.
Ooh. Living in a fantasy world.
Yeah, a fantasy world, where everything is great, where you don't have no issues and all the problems are the people that you're choosing with the problem. It has nothing to do with you because you do everything right. That fantasy,
Oh, do people live like that?
Yeah. I might be looking at one now or talking to one now. Do you? Are you like that, Keish, in your relationship? Like, do you think that, you're...
I don't live in a fantasy world.
No, I'm just saying, do you believe that you don't do anything wrong? Like,
no, I don't believe that. Not anymore. I used to believe that.
You used to? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm going to sit up here and say I used to believe that. Yeah, I wasn't never wrong at one point.
I think we all did at one point in time.
At one point, I was never wrong. But I mean, that's okay. So self-inventory. This is where self-inventory
comes goes back
in.
To self-inventory. We spoke about that.
It goes back to self-inventory. It goes back to accountability. Right?
Yeah. You got to take accountability for your actions. And we spoke about that, which is something that is extremely hard for women to do, by the way.
It's extremely hard for men to do.
Is it?
Sir?
Is it?
Yeah. Definitely is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you say so.
Agree to disagree on this if you want.
Hey, let's agree to disagree.
Well, I'm telling you, men don't like to take accountability.
Women don't take accountability.
Women do take accountability more than men. Yes.
Men might not like taking accountability, but we take accountability. Women don't take accountability. How about that?
You about to get beat up as soon as you step outside, sir. You're going to have a gang of women at your door. You heard me.
Hey, my fellas go back me up, man. My fellas go back me up.
They're going to be like, you shouldn't even say that, my guy.
My fellas go back me up, man. Back me up, fellas.
Listen, they not going to back you up.
They're going to back me up.
But women, okay, there's a good amount of women and men who do not know how to take accountability. Fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
So with me, I don't live in a fantasy world, first off. Second off, if you've been in relationships, speaking about me, I'm speaking about my own experiences. I've been in relationships where I came in and I'm doing everything right. And this is just doing what he wants to do. And he's not taking accountability. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. And yeah, I might have got upset and did some stuff. And I don't think I was wrong for it. I still think I was right for it. But after sitting back thinking about some things, I realized it may not have been the right moves on what I've done. Right? Even because it felt like I was doing the right thing because of their actions.
So let me ask you this. When you realized that, was you in a position to go back and correct that and tell them? Or was the relationship already over?
It was already over.
Oh.
It was already over because I didn't have a chance to self-reflect in while I was still in the relationship, because let's be honest, the relationship was toxic. It was toxic. It was probably one of the worst toxic relationships I've ever been in.
So let me ask you this. Did you play a part? Did you play a part in the relationship being toxic?
Um, Not at first, but in when it became toxic, I started changing. Yeah.
Okay.
So and I'm gonna take accountability for that, which is what you say women don't do. I became toxic too. And I think that if you go into a relationship and you yourself, you're not toxic, but you with somebody who is toxic or has become toxic during the relationship, you do turn into a toxic person. It does make you toxic. You can't not be toxic in a toxic relationship.
Okay, so let me say this to the people. Um, I'm glad she brought that up. Sometimes we can allow somebody else to alter our own character, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. You may not be a toxic person, but because you was around this particular toxic person for X amount of months or years, you've become toxic. You started adapting some of the things that he was doing, or you start doing things that he's doing to you out of spite or whatever the case is. Now, if you continue to do this for a certain period of time, it's going to become your character, and you're going to end up taking that toxic over
To
to
the
your
next one.
next relationship.
Yep.
So I need y'all to keep that in mind. If you see yourself getting out of character in a relationship, doing the things that you didn't want done to you to the person you were with out of spite or out of revenge or out of um, just whatever it is, you need to get yourself out, remove yourself from that relationship as soon as possible so that you don't turn into a toxic person yourself. I just want
Mm-hmm.
to say that to the people, Keish.
And I'm glad you said that to say everybody, because it's something that people don't tell them. They like, oh, let's try to stay and make it work. And I think that's why they last a little bit longer too, because when you have people in your ear telling you to, oh, you should probably stay and make it work. He can be a good guy or she can be a good girl. Like, no, you have to go based on yourself and the two of you, what you're actually dealing with. Because it's listening to other people is not gonna get you nowhere inside of y'all's relationship. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just not.
Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, if you're already at a point where you're speaking about your relationship to other people instead of
It's a
talking to the
problem.
person you with, it's already an issue in that, you know, that's already the wrong thing to do. So,
Right.
um,
And the person you confided in probably toxic, got a toxic relationship too.
they might
So
be
of
in the
course they're
middle of
gonna
one
tell you,
themselves. Yeah.
stay,
Or they could
work
be
it
the toxic
out.
one in the
Or
relationship.
yes, exactly. Like it's just a whole lot of things that you have to look out for, and you got to make sure that you are doing or you are not doing.
Right.
Because when you just start letting your guard down and you just start allowing like certain behaviors and you know things to just escalate and you don't do nothing about it, baby.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And over time, if you just sit back and do absolutely nothing and just keep taking that toxic, just keep taking it in, like you become what you put into your body. And those
Oh,
energies
that's so
that
good.
you being that's being transferred into you, and those feelings that you're feeling, of
Yeah.
you might be depressed or you might be unhappy. If you're feeling like that and you go a nice little bit of time feeling like that, it's going to change you. It's going to
Yeah.
change your outlook on relationships. It's going to change your outlook on the opposite sex. Like it could ruin you if you would
Right.
allow it to.
You know,
You know.
I was talking to somebody recently,
Mm-hmm.
my sister recently,
Mm-hmm.
and she was telling me about one of her homegirls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the homegirl she was telling me about, she was a real sweet, a sweet chick, and she had a good dude or whatever. And it's just like she didn't want that no more, right? And at this time, I don't believe she was toxic, and I don't believe their relationship was toxic. But at a point, she found somebody else. Okay, dude was in the corporate world. Okay, and he was into some stuff, and she began to allow herself to get walked all over. Um, he would start telling her certain things like, uh, I might cheat on you. I don't think I'm no good for you. And she was like, oh no, what are you talking about? Like he would tell her stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just blatantly say that. And she just was like, oh, okay, just throwing it off, brushing it off. And then it's just like she wants to be this ride or die. She wants to be a ride or die for him. And I don't understand that because you went from having this good relationship, letting that go, to getting with somebody who is absolutely no good for you. But because the sex is good, she wants to be his ride or die and she wants to be in his corner no matter what it is that he's going through. But he's constantly degrading her. He's constantly making her walk on eggshells. You know what I'm saying? Constant fighting, constant arguing. But she's like, oh, he loves me. That's toxic.
Yeah, that's extremely toxic. And for the woman to choose that over what she had, that means she's comfortable with the toxic.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. She was in a relationship with somebody for like years before she just let that go to start messing with dude. Like, come on.
But that's what I'm saying. She left a relationship that wasn't toxic for a relationship that is toxic.
Yeah.
So
some part of her had to be toxic. She is
comfortable. Yeah. She's comfortable with toxic. That's all that means. You would ridiculous. if you're choosing, this is your life that we're talking about. This is your future, your life, how you're going to be feeling from a day-to-day basis. If you choose to leave a comfortable situation that isn't toxic for an uncomfortable situation that's extremely toxic, and this is where you choose to be,
right?
You're not going to choose to be uncomfortable. You're going to choose to be where you're comfortable at. And some people are comfortable in toxic relationships. And that is why a lot of toxic relationships end up lasting longer, because people are just toxic. I mean, that when you think about it, we not all of us, but the majority of this society, when you see the people on social media and what they're saying, and man, people are walking around toxic. It's just toxic. I think, but it's the norm. It's the toxic relationship is like the norm now.
That's what I was going to say. Like, so a lot of these couples who are social media figure, like, you know, what are they called? Influencers?
Yeah, influencers.
And they're out here portraying their relationship to be so great, but you never know what's behind closed doors.
Nah, you don't.
You never know, because they want you to see what everybody's expecting to see, right? Soon as they step behind closed doors, baby, our bets is off.
And you got to understand, for those who are watching us, like, we're talking truthfully on this podcast. Everything that we talk about is truth. It's truthful. Like, you know, we're talking truth, right?
Yeah.
But we also are formatting what we talk about for the people, for the people who may be listening. You know, that's why we have like the backgrounds and the microphones and the headset, you know, and you know the logos and our names, our ats. Like, you know, we're presenting you something that can entertain you.
Yeah.
Even though we're speaking truthfully about what we're talking about, it's still entertainment. And so a lot of people look at social media and they take that entertainment as reality.
Right.
But
Oh my
in
God.
but in
Yes.
reality,
Say it
you and I,
again.
a lot
Oh
of
my
people
God.
take the entertainment that they see on social media as reality. But in
Yep.
reality, you and I don't talk like this. We
Mm-mm.
don't talk through a webcam or through some
Into a
headphones or a
microphone. Right.
microphone. We're
Yeah.
doing this for the viewer.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When you and I talk, we might not have nothing on our head. The hair might just be all over the
A
place.
whole
There might be
mess.
something in our eye. There might be something hanging from our nose or something that somebody want to be petty and not tell the other person that it's there. You
You ain't
know,
got a book in your nose.
nah, it's too late. It's too late. You should have told me. Too late. You know what I'm saying?
Too late.
Oh, side note, listen. If you see somebody with something hanging from their nose, even if it's real small, even if it's just
Say
hanging from like a
something.
little hair or something, and you don't say something to them about it, you petty.
Mm.
You
As
petty.
hell.
You
Okay.
petty. You don't care about that person.
Okay. You don't
All
care.
right. So let me
Wait a
go
minute.
back.
You
Yeah.
going too far.
Nah, you don't care. You don't care about that person.
That don't mean that they don't care
You
because
don't
they
care.
didn't say
You
nothing,
don't care.
Uni.
You don't care.
Oh my God. You
So
gotta
back,
love him,
so
I
back to
swear.
what we were saying though, like a lot of people do enjoy and are comfortable in toxic relationships, which is
Right.
why they last. The other type of relationship that isn't toxic, people would take that as it's boring.
It's boring.
It's boring. Ain't really nothing
But it's
exciting
up to
going
y'all
on.
to make it exciting. Like, you don't have to feel like you want to be in a toxic relationship because your relationship now is boring. Don't go out and purposely just make the other person like be pissed off at you because you want some excitement. You know what I'm saying?
It happens. It happens.
It does happen. It happens too often. Like, stop that. Shame on you. Go outside and do something. Like, go to a park or something and park and
That
give some
might
head in the car. I don't know. Do something exciting like that.
that would be exciting.
What's
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That would be exciting.
But I'm just saying, like, bring the excitement out in a way that it's not going to jeopardize the relationship and make it toxic for y'all. Because we all know that toxic is like,
Well,
it's stressful.
The fact of the matter is, the people who seek out that excitement in a relationship, that toxic in a relationship, not saying that all excitement is toxic, but what we're talking about is the toxic excitement, okay, specifically. People who seek that out tend to be people who are toxic themselves.
I believe you're right. You're absolutely right. But at a point, as we get older, think about this. Do you really want to live in a toxic environment, especially if you have children, especially if you have grandchildren? Do you want them to grow up in that same toxic environment as you did?
You know what? You know what that brings me to by hearing that question from you? Selfishness.
Oh, yeah.
We can't forget about that.
Yeah, it is selfishness because you're only thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
That's sad.
And
I feel bad for some people that's like that.
Listen, there's so many people right now who are selfish.
Oh,
and when you think about the way this society is, it kind of teaches you to be selfish.
That's true.
It trains you, it programs you to be selfish.
Yeah.
And what's worse than a society full of selfish people? I mean,
it's all politics.
Isn't that what's going on? Like, when you think about it, everybody everybody's about self. I'm gonna take care. I'm gonna make sure I'm straight. I'm gonna make sure me and mine straight.
Yeah.
I can care less about what you got going on. It's about me. It's about right.
Yeah.
And that is the norm. And so if you are a selfish person, you're not going to be thinking about anybody else other than yourself. So while you're in that toxic relationship, you're not going to be thinking about the grandchildren you may have to watch later on in your years, and that you're going to be bringing them into that selfish environment. You're not even thinking about that. It's not
Yeah,
even
y'all need
crossing
to
your mind.
at that point, y'all need to seek some therapy because as you get older, you're supposed to become wiser.
Supposed to.
You're supposed to become wiser. And being selfish is not being wise. Thinking
Yeah.
about what can better you is not a wise decision. I mean, you should want to better you, but
Yeah,
what
yeah,
about the other
definitely.
person that, you with?
Yeah, you don't want to be
It's
selfish
it's
with it. I mean,
it's
you
all about compromise.
you
Like, come
have to
on.
take care of self. Don't get me wrong. You have to be about
Absolutely.
evolving yourself, but not at the
Yeah.
risk of somebody else. Like, if you have to take responsibility for, I guess, the people in your life, the people around you, whether you want to or not. If you have children, you have to take responsibility for them. You brought them to this world. So
Right.
now it's not just about you. It's not about what you want out of your life. It is about what you want, but it's not solely about what it is you
Correct.
want. You have to include those children now, you know? And then when your children have children, if you're any type of unselfish person or any type of parent, you're going to want their grandchildren, your
Your
grandchildren, their
grandchildren. Yeah.
children to be
Hmm.
in a safe and comfortable environment.
Environment.
And if you're not trying to create that for them, then you're being selfish. And that's just
Exactly.
pretty much what it is.
But that well, I'm trying to think of a better way to say it. I was about to just spit it out. But
Yeah, spit it out. Let's see it.
uh-uh.
Spit it out, Keish.
Uh-uh. Listen, Uni, I'm not messing with you right now. So think about this, honestly. Your children are a direct reflection of you. And if you don't know what that means, it means what they see mommy or daddy doing is what they're going to do, which is why some of these people on social media and the videos I've seen, they have 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds holding guns, mimicking what they see at home, and they think it's okay.
Mhm.
That is toxic.
Very toxic, extremely toxic.
It's not cute and it's not funny. Okay?
It's
Because
not.
at 7 and 8, your kids should be playing with toys, working on homework, or doing something productive that's going to make them better in society. Because we know as the years pass, society gets worse.
Oh, yeah. It gets
So
even
to
more
have
toxic.
those young babies out there replicating what they see at home is not cool.
I can tell
Shame on y'all.
Yeah, that I could tell that strikes a chord with you. Like you must have seen something
does.
recently, man. Because like I could feel the energy from you. Like yeah.
Because
You serious?
as a parent,
Mhm.
I'm a parent, and I was a parent at a young age. I think I was 19 when I had my daughter,
Mhm.
and it's like all I wanted to do was protect her.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't want her around none of the foolishness. And if she had even said, when she got to 7 or 8, said a curse word or did something that was just even remotely disrespectful, like, I'm gonna whoop your ass, basically.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't allow them to be in an environment like that.
Mhm.
Don't say that, I can't help it. It's just
but
where I live.
But it ends up happening though.
Even my son, like you can't do that because that's how so many of these young kids out here are getting killed and murdered. Like, come on.
But it ends up happening because all of us have put our children at one point in time in the environment of a toxic relationship.
We have the ability, it's what I'm saying. We have the ability to change that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Especially for those selfish people who didn't think about it like this. If you haven't had somebody that you can talk to or you can listen to when it comes to toxicity and you being with somebody who's toxic or you yourself is toxic, like, just listen. You know what I mean? It's never too late to change your environment or who you with, you may have to start over. It may not be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? You may not want to, but at some point, if you have children or somebody who looks up to you that's younger than you may want to make that change. Don't stay in that toxic relationship that lasts years and years when you could have been with somebody who treats you so good and y'all still have that excitement that you probably thought you was missing in that toxic relationship.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So just if you don't take nothing else out of what I'm saying or what Uni's saying or what we talking about, just think about that. Do I want to remain in something that could be hindering me from my success or my children from their success, excuse me, when they get older?
And for those of you who have just accepted the fact that, hey, I'm toxic and this is just what it is, you know, all I could say to you is you've accepted it for your life. But if you've brought children into this world, you don't have to accept it for them.
Correct.
So at least until they get old enough to get up out of your home, make the environment as non-toxic as possible to give them a chance at life. Because a child that is raised in a toxic environment, they're going to become toxic. I mean, we're all a product of our environments. The toxic is going to be the norm, especially if they live in a toxic environment. They're seeing all the toxic relationships on social media. Their peers are acting toxic. They see their parents acting toxic. What do you expect that child to do and become?
Right.
Now, I'm not saying it's 100%. You know, there's a lot of roses that's grown through concrete, you know, to quote, you know, some of Tupac's words, but there's diamonds in the rough, if you will. You know, I had just recently watched Aladdin, by the way. And so it was actually pretty good for those of you who haven't checked it out.
Play with you today.
Not the cartoon. I'm talking about the movie.
The actual movie.
The actual movie one. Yeah.
Oh, Abu.
Yeah,
I forgot about the little monkey.
I watched it with my girls, but it's just something you want to think about. Don't be selfish, you know. But if you're an empty nester, you don't have no children, you know.
I'm an empty nester now.
You're an empty nester now. So if you're an empty nester like Keish and you don't have no children, and you just want to be in a toxic relationship, that is your right. If that's how you want to live your life, you have every right.
Do it.
You have every right to do it. You know, but please understand your children are one day going to have children. And they're going to want grandma or pawpaw to babysit.
Yes.
So you're going to have children right back in your home. So I need you to think about that. You know, are you going to be selfish? Or are you going to create an environment for your grandchildren to come and visit their grandparents? I'm just saying. You
know, let me just share this. I realized that if I didn't realize I was in a toxic relationship before, I did when my son was at home from school one day. And he was probably about 17 at this point. And maybe 18. And we was arguing. Me and the guy we was arguing so bad. When I tell you we was arguing bad, it was probably about 2:00 in the morning. My son got up and he went and got in dude's face and was like, if you yell at my mama again, I'm taking you out. And it was at that very moment I realized I'm fucked up for having my children in this environment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
that's what happens. Yep.
and that's when I began to emotionally check out. from the relationship because at that
Mm-hmm.
point,
Yeah.
nah, I didn't like. I felt bad because I brought them into that environment,
Mm-hmm.
and to see my son that angry at that young age, or as
Mm-hmm.
a teenage boy, that could have made him go out because of that anger that he had in the house from what
Mm-hmm.
I created and hurt
Mm-hmm.
somebody on the street or
Yeah.
pick up a gun and choose to just be violent just because
Yeah.
that's where his mind was at that moment.
Yep.
So I had to make the decision. I'm done.
Yeah.
It was too long. It went on too long. So I was like, at that point, nah, I'm good. I'd rather be by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be by myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it took something like that to happen before I can say this is it.
And I'm curious to know
Mhm.
how many of our young adults or, this new generation is actually living in an environment like that right now as we speak. And
Yeah.
their parents or the couple that's in the household with them, they're not even thinking about changing that environment. Like it's just became the norm. For whatever reason, they're just sticking with it. And that's why we can sit here and say toxic relationships last longer
Absolutely.
because we live in a toxic world, a toxic society. We see toxic we hear toxic on the radio. We see it on the television. It's out in the streets. And unfortunately, we have it in our homes.
Oof.
Oh, we also eat it and drink it.
Toxicity.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And that's why it ends up lasting longer because people are comfortable with toxic.
I think it's also an addiction.
Huh?
It's an addiction. Just like we have addictions to, people may be addicted to drugs. People may be addicted to alcohol. People may be addicted to just porn, sex. Toxic relationships are addictive.
Out of that list, there's a couple of things that I don't really see a problem with addiction. but I'm not going to speak on that.
Let me guess.
No, you don't have to guess. I just want
Okay, you want me to assume?
No, don't assume.
I'm going.
Man, well, Keish, toxic relationships, man. This has been one of them topics, man. I want to let everybody know that we don't condone toxic relationships. Even though the title says toxic relationships last longer, we don't condone toxic relationships. But we do want people to understand that toxic relationships exist. And for some reason, and we spoke about those reasons, a lot of people tend to stay in those toxic relationships a lot longer than, some of the other relationships that are out there. What you think? You think that's about right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I'm glad you said that too, because people do tend to stay in toxic relationships longer. Like Uni said, I don't condone it. He does not condone it. So don't just do it. You know what I mean? Just because you're comfortable, you actually need to start thinking about it. Let the selfishness go and start thinking about those around you that it can affect being in a toxic children. So, like I said, they are a direct reflection of you. So, make sure that you are really thinking about that before you get into a toxic relationship or stay in a toxic relationship. But this has been a great episode. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you
Make sure, please. Subscribe.
And make sure that you are following us on all platforms. You can follow me at Lakey Nicole at LAKEYNICHOLE, all platforms. And I'm sure you can,
Hey,
find Uni.
And I'm just gonna let y'all know we love y'all. And of course you can reach me at UniDaGod, that's UNIDAGOD, at all social media platforms. And hey, what you think, Keish? Are we done?
It's been real. We are done. This is it for the moment. We'll be back with another episode
we love you.
Friday.
Peace. Holla at us.
Bye. Bye.